Hello, my name is Mrs. Tallent, and I teach at Lake Central High School. The classes that I teach there include family wellness. It is also human development and family wellness. We have interior designs that come through my classroom. We have a curriculum on work-based learning. We also have a curriculum on adult roles. And I also co-teach with another instructor talking about preparing for college and careers. Healthy habits. The ones I would recommend include making sure that you get enough sleep. Getting enough sleep, they're discovering, is attached to so many various conflicts with health. So sleep is one. Two is making sure that you eat a wide variety of foods. In our classes, we talk about My Plate, and of course you want to have fruits, vegetables, grains, protein items, as well as items that we call dairy, but they're high in calcium as well as also in protein. Anything else that is around that is included as an extra foods. We all like a piece of cake, a cookie, but we do want to make sure that those are at a minimum. Another thing we want to make sure, the third tip would be to make sure you get plenty of exercise. Exercise makes such a difference on a person's health, getting your heart rate up. Exercise makes a difference on the disease of diabetes. It makes a difference on how much fat we end up carrying around, and extra fat can really cause problems. Speaking of fat, we have a challenge in some areas to talk about obesity. That is a major health challenge. So those three things would be basic. Family and Consumer Sciences is basically a discipline of study, coursework, classes offered where we're able to teach skills in the area of family development, health, and wellness. And Family and Consumer Sciences is provided throughout the world. Family and Consumer Sciences deals with food, clothing, shelter, being cared for, loved, nurtured, and also water. So we talk about all of those topics, and those are basic human needs. That is part of human development, and in our courses we do talk about what people need at various stages of life. One of the things that individuals need to do is recognize what they need developmentally, where they're at. Start with the basics. Once again, start with sleep. You want to start with good nutrition. You want to start with exercise. Let those be your drivers, and also ask questions about how to make decisions. How am I going to know if my decision is good for me? We want to make sure that people pay attention to the things that they're doing with inside themselves. You want to make those decisions to set goals that are consistent with your lifelong pattern. So human development is also a good part of what we teach, and I want to say child development is also a part of that. There is a real focus now on the amount of chemicals that can be in foods. So people are, and there is scientific research to show that organic foods or foods that you make on your own are free from many of those chemicals. So there is a lot of focus and education on that. Would really encourage it whenever possible. We have a huge amount of a food supply. Part of that is put into place because of pesticides. We would like to have our beef grown or our fish grown or our lamb, for example, or poultry, where they are free of pesticide type food. That's why we are also seeing like eggs that are grass-fed. They just get their food from a regular environment. It can be very healthy. We're noting that some cancers have been specifically linked to some pesticides. Some of the best tips for diet is to double check your portion control. We have a poster that shows this, but for example, how much broccoli do I need? We do not weigh or measure our foods. We just look at the foods and think, oh, I'm gonna eat that, I like it. A serving of broccoli is about the size of a light bulb, as we can see here. When we look at getting our protein source through something like peanut butter, what's a serving size of peanut butter? Well, it is like the size of a golf ball. Much more than that, if you're eating 4 golf balls, you're probably getting too many calories, too much on that particular serving. Another one would be, what about a piece of meat? We're looking at a piece of meat about the size of the palm of your hand or of a playing card. That would be a serving size of meat. When we're getting huge, gigantic amounts, those serving sizes are too much. Same would be like with our pasta, a favorite. Throughout the world, we love our pasta, but a serving is really about the size of a computer mouse. We don't need huge, gigantic amounts. That will keep your calories down, and that will also help you to make sure that you're getting, for example, enough nutrition in your dairy and your calcium sources. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this is a bone that has osteoporosis. If we do not get enough calcium in our diets, pretty soon our bones do not have the structure to hold them. So then we have broken hips and we have broken backs just from stepping off a step. So good nutrition in the serving sizes is really important. A lot of times when we're talking about, I need to lose weight, I need to pay attention to serving sizes, but I don't know if we really understand what the weight looks like. This is a model of 5 pounds of fat. So, and it includes the femur bone here. And there are some little red places on here, and those little red places are for the blood vessels or the capillaries that help to carry blood, oxygen, nutrients to maintain the fat cells. So if you think that you're carrying around this much fat, 5 pounds, it's just, I only have to lose 5 pounds. Realize that your heart is pumping blood through all of these blood vessels. And those blood vessels, if you were to lay them out and make a line, and those capillaries, it would equal a mile. So 1 pound of fat needs 1 mile of blood vessels in order to stay healthy. Here we have 5 miles. 5 miles of blood vessels in order to keep your heart healthy. So maybe that's why sometimes our hearts get a little bit worn out and have to work so hard. Okay, one of the things that I would like to make sure is that the courses that we provide in Family and Consumer Sciences includes that deal with the 5 major things that people need, the disciplines that are out there that people need for development. One is to make sure we have food. Family and Consumer Sciences deals with food. We also deal with water. We also deal with interpersonal relationships, child development. We also want to make sure that Family and Consumer Science people talk about housing. So we deal with all of that, and I teach all of those classes in my room except for the child development and interpersonal relationships. That includes adult roles and our human development and family wellness class that you see here.